In a city where everything moved too fast to be noticed, Mira lived a life built on certainty. She believed the world was made of facts. Chairs were objects to sit on, people were names and roles, and time was something measured on a glowing screen. If something could not be measured, she assumed it was not important. Until the day her routine broke. It began on a train. Mira took the same route every morning, always sitting in the same corner seat, always looking at the same advertisements sliding past the window like forgotten thoughts. But that day, the train stopped between stations. No announcement, no explanation, just stillness. At first, she checked her phone. No signal. Then she looked around. That was the moment something shifted, not outside, but within her attention. She noticed the sound of the train for the first time, not as noise, but as layers. The faint metallic ticking beneath the silence, the distant hum of electricity, the soft rustle of strangers adjusting their posture. And a man across from her was staring at his shoes, as if they contained an answer he had lost. A child near the door was pressing his forehead against the glass, watching nothing and everything at once. Mira realized something strange. She had always seen these things before, but she had never noticed them. Time stretched. Not in a poetic sense, but in a disturbing one, like reality had stopped rushing to meet her expectations. When the train finally moved again, nothing had changed outside. The city was the same. The stations were the same. But Mira felt slightly displaced inside her own perception, as if she had stepped half a pace out of her life. That evening, she went to the library instead of going home. She didn't know why. The library was quiet in the way only old buildings can be, like silence had settled into its walls over years of use. She wandered between shelves until a book slipped slightly forward, as if inviting her. Phenomenology, the study of experience as it appears. She opened it. The words were not telling her what the world is, but asking her to notice how the world appears before she labels it. Mira frowned. It sounded unnecessary at first. Why would anyone study experience itself? Experience was just automatic, like breathing. But the more she read, the more she began to doubt that assumption. The book suggested something unsettling. What if reality is not first understood, but first lived? What if the mind does not simply record the world, but shapes how the world is revealed in the first place? She closed the book. And for the first time, she looked at the library itself, not as a building filled with books, but as an unfolding moment. The smell of paper was just a smell. It was memory without images. The light falling through the window was just illumination. It was a slow motion of dust revealing itself mid-air. Even her own thoughts felt different, like they were happening slightly ahead of her ability to control them. Over the next few days, Mira began experimenting, not with changing her life, but with noticing it. While drinking tea, she stopped naming it Tia for a moment, and only felt its warmth spreading through her hands. While walking, she paid attention not to where she was going, but to the sensation of movement itself, how the ground seemed to rise and fall beneath her feet, how sound changed, depending on her speed. People began to feel less like strangers and more like unfolding presences, each one trapped in their own invisible world of meaning. One afternoon, she saw the man from the train again. He was standing outside a shop, holding a plastic bag, staring at nothing in particular. Normally, she would have walked past him without a second thought. But now, she noticed something else. Not his identity, not his story, but the simple fact that he was being seen at all. That he was appearing in her experience as a living presence, not a background detail. And she wondered, what does he appear like in his own world? That question had no answer. But it changed something in her. Because for the first time, she understood that she was not outside reality observing it like a spectator. She was inside it, always already entangled in how it revealed itself. Weeks later, Mira returned to the library. She placed the book back on the shelf, but did T feel like she was finishing it? There was no conclusion to return from, only a shift in how everything was seen. As she stepped outside, the city was loud again. People rushed past her. Phones glowed. Cars honked. Life continued its usual speed. But something had changed in her relationship to it. She no longer felt that reality was something fixed to be understood once and for all. Instead, she felt it as something continuously unfolding, through attention, through perception, through lived experience. A man bumped into her shoulder and muttered an apology without looking up. Normally, she would have ignored it. But this time, she noticed the apology not as words, but as a small moment of shared existence. Two consciousnesses briefly intersecting and then separating again. And as she walked away, she realized something quietly profound. The world had not changed. Only the way it was given to her had, and that, she thought, might be the beginning of seeing.